Welcome to our success interview today. We are joined by two truly inspirational people that have taken the steps, the advice, followed the system that we teach, and are now achieving phenomenal results in their own business as well. So please join me in giving a very big welcome to both Carl and Michelle Kofi. Sorry, no, not Michelle Kofi. Carl and Michelle Bingham. It says one thing on my screen and it's something else in reality. So catching myself out there. So guys, welcome to this call. Great to have you here as well. Obviously, we are live on Facebook right now, but we are also recording this for our YouTube channel to basically inspire the next generation. Okay, and people like to hear about people that are really not that far ahead of them. So why don't we go and set the scene? Go ahead and tell people what is it you were doing before you got into property.
You jump in first?
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, hi Chris, hi everyone. Thanks for having us here. So yeah, before we got into property, so I was working as a freelance medical writer. I was self-employed, working very long hours, to be honest, anything from sort of 50 to 60 hours a week, feeling very stressed, very tired, very burnt out a lot of the time. So that was kind of my side of things. And then
yeah, my side, not too dissimilar as far as the amount of hours working, but I was a bit all over the place. Literally, I was sort of all over the world traveling for work, photographing motorsports. Like last year, in total, I clocked 55 flights up. My time at home was about a week a month, give or take. So yes, to say life has been different now, and where we were and where we are, where we wanted to be is massive change.
Yeah,
it's so funny, isn't it? Like, because I imagine when you tell people that story, oh yeah, what do you do for a living? Oh, well, I travel the world. I'm a jet setter. I travel around the motorsport circuits. Yeah, I take photos of cars for a living, traveling all over the planet. I'm sure a lot of people would turn around and go, well, that sounds amazing.
Oh yeah, they do.
What's the reality of it?
A lot of airport lounges and economy long haul flights.
Yeah, right, okay.
If you've ever done
very different background from Michelle, so very much kind of more office based, much more corporate-y style of work. How did you guys meet, out of interest? Because like totally different worlds. How did you guys actually end up together?
A true university. Yeah. So we both met at university on a complete sort of random night, as far as two friends that neither of us particularly liked.
You hope they're not watching right now.
And then that's kind of how it met, sort of thing. Yeah. Otherwise, like you said, I don't think we would have done, because the paths wouldn't have crossed.
Yeah, like totally different worlds, right?
Very much so.
Okay, amazing. So I understand both in quite high pressure jobs in their own way. One, tons of travel. One, a lot of responsibility from the writing side. So why did you decide then that you wanted to change things up? What was it about that wasn't working for you? And why did you pick property as the thing that you were going to do?
So yeah, I think for me, it was very much about having lots of responsibility, very little time with each other, to be honest. Our schedules, we were like passing ships, literally. So yeah, for me, it was very much about trying to get into a different career path that would actually give us some time, give us a bit more passive income, or at least semi-passive income. And yeah, for me, property was always something I wanted to do further down the line, because I assumed we would need a lot more capital to get into it. So it was always kind of a 10-year plan rather than a 1-year plan. Yeah, that's kind of from my side. Yeah,
pretty much exactly the same. Yeah, property was always been sort of the longer term goal. Exactly the same as what Michelle was saying. It's just the fact that we thought we need the lump sum of cash to get started, which due to
and to be fair, that's not an unreasonable assumption, right? You know, most people out there will assume that if you want to invest in property, you have to have something to invest. You know, there's this big misconception in property that you need to have a 25% mortgage if you're going to invest in property. But the average house price in the UK is about £250,000. So that means you need to save up 62k just for your deposit, plus your legals, plus your stamp duty, and all the extras that go with that. So it's not an unreasonable assumption, but it's also a false assumption, isn't it? And obviously you've learned that now. But what is it about property specifically that appealed to you? Obviously you've got the passive cash flow, but you know, you're looking at a range of acquisition models, aren't you? So cash flow is one side, but is there anything else about property that kind of really stands out for you that gives you that drive to want to do more of it?
Yeah, it's very much setting the security up for the future. So like I say, the sort of short-term models which we're doing now is high cash flow generating. Then long term, the acquisition models will sort of transfer, and we're sort of looking at doing that at the moment to be able to give us this long term security and asset increase.
Yeah.
And I think as well, for me, it was very much my day job is, you know, sitting at a laptop kind of writing and not really speaking to people. So it's actually been really nice as far as the property side of things to get out there and speak to people and get to know people in our network and build on it. So,
yeah. And how's that transition been then? Because obviously, like, you know, when you spend a lot of time just behind a desk for your job, and then all of a sudden you are head of marketing, head of sales, head of operations, head of finance, and you got to go and talk to people, and maybe you haven't got much experience of talking to people through your day job. How have you found that transition, Michelle?
Yeah, definitely challenging. Yeah, it's sort of going from maybe a couple of hats to all the hats as far as being able to kind of cover a range of things. I think what's really helped though, at the same time, it's been challenging, but it's also been really exciting because that my day job is suddenly so much more varied, you know. It led to a lot of long hours, I'll be honest, because my sort of work days became property for a while there, and then I'd come home and do my night shift of my writing job starting on Friday evening. So that was kind of challenging. But no, it's been great. It's been really good, and getting out there and speaking to people, you get so much more used to it. You get used to being able to promote yourself and sell yourself, and actually going through yourselves and working with Property Abundance has been a really big part of that as well. So
amazing. So you kind of alluded to the fact that, like, you've worked with Property Abundance here. So, you know, full transparency for everyone watching this, Carl and Michelle came and did our 3-day training course. They then joined our 12-month mentorship program, and they are currently on our 12-month mentorship program. So, guys, why did you choose to go down that route and come and work with Property Abundance rather than just go it alone?
Lack of knowledge. Just like from what we were saying before, we didn't know of a way that we could get to where we wanted to in even 10 years at the time. We knew what we wanted, we didn't know how to get there. So we started looking around, looked at a lot of different things online, and Property Abundance just sort of struck out as the obvious solution. So sort of came to the 3-day event. Obviously that opened our eyes as far as what can be done, as far as no money down options and high cash flow generation and all the sort of the good stuff, basically.
Yeah.
And that's kind of opened the kind of, okay, so this gives us this, and then this can equal this, and it's kind of everything became clear, and we could see where we wanted to get to, and we actually had a path as opposed to a dream with no way of getting there.
Amazing. Okay, yeah, it makes total sense. So you are currently, how far into your mentorship program are you right now?
9
months, I think.
Yeah. Is it that much? I was going to go for 10, but it's actually less than I thought then. So, okay, so 8 or 9 months in, somewhere around there. What's your experience been so far? How have you found it? How have you found the last 8 or 9 months?
Amazing. Just a complete change of everything, just a complete whirlwind, really. It's been fantastic. It's I mean, myself, I've gone from someone with no sales experience, never worked in a sales role whatsoever, to go from to actually being able to learn how to sell with your help and with the help of the program. Actually being able to change up our situation. You know, we've actually taken on properties since we started the program. We've, you know, got Carl out of his day job, which is amazing. So yeah, it's just been crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that segues nicely into it, actually, doesn't it? So the next question I was going to ask you is what have you achieved? So you kind of alluded to the fact, but let's get more specifics, because people like numbers. Okay, so people like tangibles. So what have you achieved? Like, what have you managed to get? Let's talk about your portfolio to start with.
So I'm completing the business full-time now. So I've gone from a full-time role into the business full-time. We've got 5 properties in our local area, all as SA. And then we're sourcing at the moment inside of Peterborough for HMOs. We've got a client who actually wants the property, so we're sourcing to order, which is the best way to do it. And yeah, that's kind of the portfolio at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now that's not all though, is it? Because again, like that's your portfolio as it stands right now. But a big thing that people need to do in property is balance the scales, isn't it? So you need a lot of deals. You want to have a really great deal flow, but then you've got to finance those deals somehow. So if you focus just on deals with no money, the seesaw becomes a bit unbalanced and we end up like this. Equally, if we focus on all money and no deals, seesaw goes the other way and we do this. Now, you've had some really great success balancing that seesaw. Obviously, you've got your deals set up. You've already got 5 live. You've got multiple deals in the pipeline with a client ready to go. What about the other side of the seesaw? Have you managed to raise any finance? Have you got any kind of things around that side of things that will allow you to acquire property using none of your own money?
Yeah, so
so we the first 5 deals we financed ourselves, and actually as part of that process and as part of pitching essentially to find landlords, we also came across other people for who could be potential investors as well. So we have 2 investors currently. So we've managed to secure 10K through one investor. And then we have a second investor who's actually one of our landlords. So that's another sort of avenue that's kind of opened up that way, who's potentially willing to invest up to £500,000 with us. And that's to start. So that's currently paused at the moment, but we're hoping to resume those conversations in about a month.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's very much been a case of, obviously growing the business through deals, but as you say, making sure that there's money in the pipeline for future deals. So yeah, it's very much been balancing the two.
Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, absolutely that, isn't it? And it's amazing how the more you put yourself out there, the more kind of action you take and the more exposure you give yourself, the more opportunity flows to you. So you've raised, effectively 510K worth of JV finance that could be used for deals. Yes, okay, it's not in your bank account, but the conversation's going, the commitment's there, they've said they're interested, they want to work with you. So over £500,000 raised of JV finance just from putting yourself out there, doing deals, getting in property, going and having conversations with people. Fantastic achievement. In fact, I think that deserves a webcam round of applause. So if anyone's watching this live on Facebook right now, this is our webcam round of applause. If you're watching on YouTube and this is not live, you don't need to do it because you can't hear you. So everybody on Facebook's giving you a round of applause there as well. So thank you guys. Now, what's the future hold for you guys? What's the next step? So you've got this portfolio of 5, you're searching for a few HMOs in Peterborough with clients ready to go already. What do you reckon is the next step for your business? Where do you want to go from here?
Well, definitely.
Yeah. Basically, the big thing is we want to have enough HMOs secured so we can then offset the risk between the 2 different sort of strategies. So we can have SA and HMO. So we've got a nice sort of mix, and then obviously using the funding which we've just discussed to fund those eventually, to fund those as well. So we'll actually have ownership of some of the properties as well, as opposed to only doing high cash flow. So we get the cream on both ways.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And I think one of the, I mean, it might not be the immediate goal, but sort of the longer term goal for maybe the rest of the year is to get me out of my day job as well. So
Yeah.
full time in the business. That will free up a lot of time, which will free up a lot of time for sourcing, a lot of time for sourcing more investors as well. So yeah, and hopefully accelerate growth.
Yeah, definitely.
Business. So yeah.
2 people's time is not doubled, literally doubled. So
awesome. So already hit financial freedom for Carl. Now we're working towards financial freedom for the other half of the partnership. And once we get there, life on your own terms completely.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Fantastic. All right, guys. Well, look, thank you so much for coming and sharing your journey up until now. What we do like to do on these interviews as well is just give people a few tips. So obviously you are now 8 months or 9 months into your journey. What would you say have been the biggest lessons for you in that 8 to 9 months that you would share with somebody who's maybe watching this video and thinking, yeah, I really want to get into property as well? What are the biggest kind of realizations or lessons that you've had over the last 8 to 9 months?
Big one for me is just realizing that you don't need this big pot of cash. It's not, like we were saying right at the start, it's a misconception of the industry of what you need this big pot of cash to be able to do anything in property. Complete rubbish. Of course, you can use that model, don't get me wrong, but it's not actually the most advantageous way to give you quick growth, high cash flow. So that's been a massive opening to us as far as seeing how to go.
Yeah, I think for me it's been about kind of recognizing what you don't know. We were complete newbies in property, so 100% I would say get a mentor. I would say go with property abundance. I'm slightly biased, but no, but I 100% would say get a mentor, because I didn't know how to sell. I didn't know how to source deals that were or also assess deals in terms of knowing if they were profitable. So although property was something we wanted to get into, it kind of felt a little bit like a pipe dream. So I think, yeah, definitely investing in yourself and actually getting the knowledge through somebody who's been there and done that, I think is really, really important.
Somebody who's walked the road and they're ahead of you is looking back and giving you the best way through is definitely the way to go with this.
Awesome. I mean, great pieces of advice. Yeah, I mean, echo it completely. I have mentors in everything I do. I have mindset mentors, marketing mentors, I have property mentors that are further ahead than me. Now look, full transparency, we've grown trade stays to the point that we're up to £2 million a year business, but we want to go much further. Okay, we want to go way further than that. So we always want to be working with people that are ahead of us. Now, one of the things that you've also nailed on the head there is this misconception of needing money. And I totally agree. Like, everyone seems to think that you need this money to start property. Does it help? Yeah, sure, it helps. Yeah, of course it helps. It opens more doors. I like to think of it as an enabler rather than a necessity. Okay, yeah, sure. If you have money, you've got more options, for sure. But even if you don't, it doesn't mean property is excluded for you. And that is one of the beauties of this industry, is you really don't need to. But if you do have it, then obviously it can maximize your returns several times over as well. So it's great whether you're starting with nothing or whether you're starting with a small portfolio, or even if you've just got some cash and you don't know what to do with it. Property is a fantastic industry. Now, if you are, firstly, guys, thank you so much for jumping on. Really, really appreciate your time. I'm trying to think when we'll probably touch base next. Probably on Wednesday, I think, won't we, with our mentorship webinar. I'll probably see you on Wednesday. So until then, thank you so much and good luck with getting those deals across the line in Peterborough. But guys, if you're watching this and you found it useful, please do me a massive favor. Help out the channel, drop a like on this video, drop a comment. What was your biggest takeaway from Carl and Michelle about their journey that inspired you? And if you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe to the channel for regular update out of my own 7-figure property business, where we drop regular content. I record content every single day. Whether we upload it every single day or not is a different question, but it gets recorded every single day. So please make sure that you subscribe if you want to stay up to date. Now, if you want to get results just like Carl and Michelle, and you want to speak to my team about how we can help you do that, I will make sure to drop in either the description down below or in the comments, depending on where you're watching this, a link where you can book a 30-minute call with my team. It's a free, no obligation call. We will just help give you clarity on where you are right now, what you want to achieve, and whether we're the right people to help you achieve that. And if we are and you want to work with us, fantastic. If you don't, hey, that's cool too. But either way, please drop a like, please drop a comment, and please subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with our regular content. Other than that, I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, guys.